This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Revolutionary greetings, boys and girls, scholars and laymen. Welcome to another wonderful edutainment edition of The Artivist Thinks. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2, C2, H2, The Artivist. And welcome to the We All Be movement. Today, I actually come with a sad heart on reporting. As you all know, if you are on planet Earth, you are very much aware of the passing and transitioning of a true legend, a real legend. One brother, Muhammad Ali. I was very shocked. He passed away on Friday, June the 3rd, from declining health. Of course, we all are aware that he had Parkinson's disease for at least 32 years. And also he was dealing with respiratory issues. So he was not in the very best of health for a long time, but he took a serious decline in the last few years. So, yes, we know the champ has passed on in the physical, but we also know that his spiritual lives on, that he will continue to inspire generations not yet even born. One of the most recognizable men or faces on the planet, one of the most incredible lives ever lived of all time. And I just want to share with you some of my thoughts about Brother Ali. I cannot claim by any stretch of the imagination to have ever met this man while he was among us. I don't have any insight like a brother Dick Gregory might have on that account, because he knows everybody, he met everybody, he been everywhere. But what I can offer you is my point of view, and also share with some facts that may not be highlighted in mainstream media. And I think right now, it's so important right now. I was talking to black people directly, but people in general, you must make it a priority to tell your story on your terms. It is so important right now that your voice be amplified. There is no reason why you cannot amplify your voice in this age of technology, because information is power and knowledge is the currency of the universe. And I would like to say that people, if you are ever in the Louisville area, or if you just want to go to Louisville for this one reason only, please make the pilgrimage. Now is a pilgrimage. Make the pilgrimage to the Muhammad Ali Center in downtown Louisville. I went there several years ago. I did not regret it. It is arguably, in my honest opinion, in my humble opinion, one of the best museums around. One of the best museums, one of the greatest museums out there. You won't be bored. It's very engaging, like the man himself was. Very engaging, very people friendly, very informative, very inspiring. And I'll just make a pilgrimage to the Louisville Center, and I wonder if they will bury him. Would that be his final resting place for his mortal remains, to be at that center, much like Ronald Reagan is buried at the Reagan Presidential Library out in California? Because Muhammad Ali was a true statesman. He was more than just a boxer. Like somebody said in I Am Ali, a great documentary about the legacy of Muhammad Ali, told through the prisms of his friends, family, business associates. I mean, it's great. Even rivals. Joe Frazier's son appears. Joe Frazier passed several years before Muhammad, and Muhammad Ali went to his funeral to pay respects to his rival. So I Am Ali is a great documentary to look at, to really get the inner workings of Ali's personal and professional life. And also another documentary I would recommend is When We Were Kings, a great documentary that came out some years ago, but it holds up. A great documentary about the historic Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire, Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman. You get to see some very juicy prime clips of, because people don't understand, it was not just a boxing match. It was a cultural event. It was a cultural phenomenon. What happened in Zaire between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman in the Congo. And one of my favorite clips is when James Brown and B.B. King, who also came over to perform with Muhammad Ali's entourage, about racism and about life. I mean, it's great. So those two documentaries I can think of off the top of my head, the recent I Am Ali and also When We Were Kings, are great documentaries to look at if you want to truly understand the extraordinary legacy and contribution of Muhammad Ali. And like Brother Ali said, service is the rent you pay for your stay on earth. So he was a great humanitarian. But black people, I just want to encourage all of us to tell our stories on our own terms. Like, go back to Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. If you don't tell your story, you will always be a sideline character or marginalized character or an invisible person. So it's very important. And I just want to talk about Ali, my thoughts. When I first heard about him passing, I was notified by my sister via text. The wonderful world of technology, so quick to spread bad news quicker than it is the truth. But we'll get a handle on that. But this is some of my thoughts I want to share. That when I first heard about Muhammad Ali passing, the greatest of any generation has made it to the biggest ring and fight card possible. Legends don't get any bigger than Muhammad Ali. Win, lose, or draw, Muhammad Ali fought the right fights for the right reasons, inside and outside the ring. Muhammad Ali was Emmett Till's revenge and white America's nightmare. The son of Garveyites, a friend of Malcolm X, and a follower of the NOI, the Nation of Islam, Muhammad Ali was black power personified. 20 years ago, he carried the torch in Atlanta. 56 years ago, he won the gold in Rome. 2016, they will pay tribute to a big blood sacrifice. I'm referring to his Olympics association. Like, he won the gold in boxing in Rome back in 1960. Of course, when the Olympics came to Atlanta, very emotional, cathartic experience. See Muhammad Ali carrying the torch, bearing to the world his frailties, but also his strength, because he was dealing with Parkinson's, so he was shaking, and he just bared, and it would make him so great because your vulnerability, your weaknesses are really your strength. So that was fascinating to see that. And also this year the Olympics will be, I believe, in Brazil. So I'm definitely thinking they're gonna do a humongous tribute to Muhammad Ali. Very deserving of that. And there's something that stuck with me. Muhammad Ali, one of his quotes, he said, "He who is not courageous enough to take risk will accomplish nothing in life." And that's so true. Risk has his own rewards. And Muhammad Ali was the real Louisville slugger. They called him the Louisville Lip, but he was the real slugger because he could throw them. He could throw them things. Some of the fastest hands in boxing history for a person that size. Incredible. And something else, like I said, thank the universal God for the person who stole Muhammad Ali's bike when he was 12. Because that's the reason why he wanted to take up boxing, so he could protect himself, defend himself. And so maybe that was divine intervention in a way. So, this is the thing about Muhammad Ali that I don't feel like is really being talked about, because people assume that when Muhammad Ali changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali and joined the quote-unquote so-called controversial Nation of Islam, which was headed by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and one of his most favorite or famous proponents or advocates or products, of course, was Brother Malcolm X, the spokesperson at one time for the Nation of Islam. They thought that he hated white people. A lot of people think, he's a hate monger. Because, back in 1959, Mike Wallace of 60 Minutes fame produced a documentary called The Hate That Hate Produced. that highlighted the Nation of Islam, which was basically an underground organization at that point to the mainstream white America audience. And this is when white America first heard of big scary boogeyman known as Malcolm X. And also Louis Lomax, the pioneering black journalist, he was a part of that production. Once again, 1959, the hate produced. And so they figured that this guy, Cassius Clay from Kentucky, he must hate white people too. Come to find out, if you do this little bit of research, that it was a white police officer by the name of Joe Martin who taught Muhammad Ali how to box. And there's also powerful white businessmen who first bankrolled or sponsored his career. Joe Martin was the guy, he ran the the athletic club, the boxing club, or where the policemen trained. And when Muhammad Ali went to the police station, he encountered him when he wanted to report his bike stolen. So there was the white man, he taught him how to box. And also, one we're referring to is the Louisville sponsoring group. It was a group of 11 white businessmen in Louisville who actually financed and sponsored Muhammad Ali's boxing career, his transition from an amateur to a professional. This is before the days of GoFundMe and Kickstarter. He actually had a group of white men who actually put together by a black lawyer named Alberta Hunter, if I'm not mistaken, or Alberta Jones, excuse me. And it's a group of 11 white businessmen. And I just want to thank those white people for seeing something in Brother Muhammad that a lot of us appreciated later. They knew he was a very, very talented man, or a young kid. He was just 18 when he won the gold in Rome. So, who was the 11 prominent Louisville businessmen known as the Louisville Sponsoring Group, who was arranged by black attorney Alberta Jones? Their names are these are the names. They included Robert Worth Bingham, W.L. Lyons Brown Sr., Patrick Calhoun Jr., J.D. Stetson Coleman, Gordon B. Davison, William Faversham Jr., Archibald McGee Foster, George W. Norton IV, Vertner D. Smith Sr., Albert Gary Sutcliffe, and James Ross Todd. You can easily find them online. Just type in Muhammad Ali, the Louisville Sponsoring Group. I guess later on they was able to get 40% of Muhammad Ali's earnings. I guess it was higher at one point, but they renegotiated it. And it's very interesting. So now it's white people that actually invested in Muhammad Ali to become the greatest. So white folks, sports is all about making money. America is about capitalism, about making money. But also they had civic pride. These were guys from Louisville, and they want to sponsor a Louisville citizen to greatness, and that's great too. Kentucky got a very fascinating black history in and of itself. And Louisville is a very interesting place. You ever get a chance to visit, please do. Very fascinating history. As a matter of fact, there was a plot to kill Dr. King before they killed him in Memphis. They was trying to kill Dr. King in Louisville, Kentucky. His brother at one point, A.D. King, lived in Louisville. And I think the plot was exposed by a Louisville police officer, of all people. You could Google this up. I'm not going to get into the specifics of all that, but I just think that's something, you could note, Dr. King was going to be at one point allegedly assassinated in Louisville, Kentucky, the home of Muhammad Ali. So let's get on to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, I say he was Emmett Till's revenge. And Muhammad Ali, like a lot of us, was very much affected by the horrific photo of Emmett Till's disfigured face, because him and Emmett Till were very much close in age. Muhammad Ali was born in 1942. Emmett Till was born in 1941. So they were very much close in age when that thing happened to Emmett Till down in Mississippi. So they was the same generation. Muhammad Ali, I know he got, once you see that picture, you can't get it out your head. Even when I saw it as a kid, it stays with me to this day. I'm in my 30s. So I say that he was white America's nightmare, because here's this guy, very articulate, very colorful, not shy, extremely talented at a time where black folks were catching hell in this country. Jim Crow law, a lot of discrimination. Black folks still was getting lynched in high numbers. A lot of things was going on at this time. And here this young man from Kentucky, talking trash to Louisville Lip, but having the ability, having the talent to back it up. This is before Floyd Mayweather and all those big money paydays and all this stuff. This guy was doing it at a time when, black folks was not supposed to be heard. You understand? So that's very interesting. And also his relationship with Malcolm X is very fascinating. From my understanding, from my research, Malcolm X, when he left the nation, he was hoping or planning on Muhammad Ali following him, as well as Minister Louis Farrakhan following him as well. Both of these men were very much influenced by Brother Malcolm. Louis Farrakhan's what was known, I guess, from Dr. Manny Marable's book on Malcolm X, one of Malcolm's ministers. He was directly trained by Brother Malcolm X. He's from Boston. As we know, Brother Malcolm X, half sister, older sister Ella, his sponsor lived in Boston, in Roxbury, same place where Minister Farrakhan was from. And so he trained Louis Farrakhan. Also, he was a spiritual mentor for for Muhammad Ali. As we all know, he was around Muhammad Ali during his big fight with Sonny Liston. And I believe, we all know Muhammad Ali ended up going with Elijah Muhammad, but he also years later expressed remorse and regret for abandoning Malcolm X, or leaving Malcolm X, or having to choose Malcolm or not choose Malcolm. And it is what it is. But that's the stuff of legend. It's very fascinating that Muhammad Ali came of age during the time of Malcolm and Martin and all these big black people, big time, like iconic black figures, and he stands out. So yeah, like I said, son of Garveyites. It's interesting that Malcolm, Elijah, Muhammad Ali, even Minister Farrakhan, all their parents had connections to the Garvey movement, Marcus Garvey movement, which is fascinating, which makes sense when you think about where they ended up later on in life. But I just think that's fascinating. Then we know, like I said, it's well documented about Brother Muhammad Ali's ability in the ring, but he was also the true fighter out of the ring as well, as we all know. We also know that he was a soldier and a casualty of war in a war bigger than Vietnam. Brother Muhammad Ali was fighting against white supremacy, racism, every day of his life. He was fighting against it, and he sacrificed a lot for that. We'll never know the sacrifice he made in order to take a stand on behalf of folks who couldn't take a stand. He was, in a way, like Paul Robeson. Like Paul Robeson, he had this talent, this ability to connect with people and to also make large sums of money, utilize his talent to entertain, to make people feel better about themselves. But at the same time, he also understood that it wasn't good enough for him to make it and be successful when most of his people were suffering. So he paid a price, just like Paul Robeson paid a price. And it's a shame that Paul Robeson is not better known today as he should be, like Brother Muhammad Ali is known. But Brother Muhammad Ali sacrificed 3.5 years of his prime, taking a stand, taking a very unpopular stand, against the war. Can you imagine a LeBron James or even a Michael Jordan before, anybody like that, sacrificing the prime years of their earning potential in order to make a political and moral statement of that nature? And then what was beautiful is that you had conscious black athletes like a Jim Brown, like a Bill Russell, like a Lou Alcindor, a.k.a. now known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, standing with this brother in solidarity. I think the reason why he was able to get the support he did among the athletes, because they didn't have what the athletes have now, the luxuries, the money, the millions of dollars at stake, even billions at stake, for their respective leagues. They were still kind of like they could relate to the working person or the working people. And you got the case of Bill Russell, where he wins 11 championships in 13 years, only be run out of Boston. I mean, he won 11 championships out of 13 years at Boston as a Celtic, and the town didn't even appreciate him. They ran him out. So you still had their reality that they were living in, or even with Jim Brown, how he had to leave, the league, the NFL, because the owners thought they owned him instead of they own a team, but they didn't own him. He was his own man. Even when he got slighted, when he should have won the Heisman, when he was playing with Syracuse, and then gave it to Paul Hornung of Notre Dame, who didn't have anywhere near the year that Jim Brown had. It upset people so much that even a renowned sports journalist, Dick Schaap, resigned from the voting committee for the Heisman, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a time when athletes were still able to relate to the working class, to the regular public. But that time has long since passed, and that's why I said that I don't know if Muhammad Ali would have got the support he got from other athletes if he happened to took a stand like that in his prime today. Think about a couple of years ago. I'm not trying to pass blame on judgment, but look at the Donald Sterling situation in the NBA and how so many black players would actually splinter or undecided about what to do about that situation. Donald Sterling is one man, but we're looking at a culture that exploits black labor for white wealth. America is a culture where it exploits black labor for white wealth, or it used to exploit black labor for white wealth, because they are replacing black folks now for new class of black people, a different class, a different type of nigger. They warehousing black folks right now. So they're making money one way or the other off of black misery and pain in this system. So you can really never get justice in a system like this. But Brother Muhammad Ali, he fought for his manhood. He refused to be a boy. He fooled everybody. Throughout his life and career, he was always underestimated. Even in the later years, they underestimated Brother Muhammad Ali. But what I love about this guy, he had knowledge of self. Even before he became Muhammad Ali, he knew that he was destined for greatness. He already knew that as a little kid, even telling people in his neighborhood. And people would laugh, they didn't want to believe it, but the brother was prophetic. He spoke his own reality. See, he understood something, that your words create worlds. Your words create worlds. It's like they say in the Bible, the power of life and death resides in the tongue. So he understood that power. You might have questioned how he used it during his boxing career, how he belittled people like Joe Frazier, called him gorilla, which he regretted. He played into their hands. I mean, he's human. I mean, boxing, all this stuff is about divide and conquer. But, people don't understand that Joe Frazier, when Muhammad Ali was alienated by the industry and by society, it was Joe Frazier who stood by Brother Muhammad Ali, gave his family care packages, gave him money to take care of his family, advocated for him to get his boxing license reinstated. Joe Frazier is the real Rocky story. That's his story that Rocky stole. See how cultural appropriation works? The story Rocky is really the Joe Frazier story. He should have a statue on those steps, or whatever the hell that was that Rocky ran up and down those steps. That should be his statue. But white folks can't deal with the reality of black excellence. White supremacy cannot deal with the reality of black excellence. It is on us to tell those stories and amplify it. They rather worship a mythological fake Hollywood creation than to worship the real deal. Like I tell people all the time, black history is better than Hollywood fiction. Real, truthful black history is way better than Hollywood fiction. You understand? Because it's hard to believe that black folks are able to excel under these conditions. It would be hard to believe that anybody will be able to excel under the conditions of white supremacy racism that we found ourselves in as a people of color. So now Muhammad Ali knew who he was. And when I saw the documentary I Am Ali, Muhammad Ali was not only a great promoter or had a lot of confidence, but also he was a historian. He was a documentarian. He documented phone calls and conversation with his kids and with his associates. He understood the power of the moment. He understood that it was his responsibility to catch up these moments for posterity. It's like when he lost the ability to communicate in his lovely way he communicated with his voice, he was able to have these tapes and whatnot speak for him when he could no longer speak in a way that was able to be understood, if not overstood. So he had, these tapes, and he recorded his daughters and kids, and in his phone conversation with his wife and all this stuff, and he overstood that. And that's something I really respect, because a lot of black folks don't know our value. Muhammad Ali, as a black man, as a black person, was able to understand his value even in this system. He understood that he was a big deal. He knew he was a big deal. And he had to use reverse psychology to make himself believe that and make that a reality. So I think that it should be commended. His life, is a very fascinating person. That type of life, like, it don't get any bigger than Muhammad Ali as far as legends are concerned. And what a humanitarian. Humanitarian. He loved people, and people loved him. And I think what made it work for Muhammad Ali, because I never met the man, was because he was authentic. He was a genuine person. I just look at, when people talk about, I'm looking at the people that he influenced, they actually met him and grew up around him and all this stuff. His brother, he had this hero worship of his brother, Rahman Ali. He had very much a hero worship of his brother, very loyal to his brother. Muhammad Ali inspired that type of loyalty in people. He like sense of trust, sense of respect. He upgraded people, I believe, Like Angelo Dundee, his longtime trainer, said, a trainer is only as good as the talent that he has, that he trains. A trainer is only as good as the talent that he trains. So Muhammad Ali had like once in a generation talent and ability. But like somebody said, he could have been a great lawyer. He happened to be a boxer. So he was just a great man, period. Even if he wasn't, as well known as he is in this world today, he still would have been a great man among his people. Wherever he went, he would have been successful. I believe so, because he had the type of gift. And I think we all have that type of gift, but he realized his in his lifetime. And maybe that's why, at the end, he had to be quieted a little bit, because he just did so much. He amplified out of this world. And people said that, his Parkinson might have helped him to survive the assassination, inclined 60s and, 70s and whatnot, especially as it relates to the Black Power, civil rights movements and political movements, respectively. Maybe they gave him a Parkinson's. I don't know. Michael J. Fox, he never boxed, but he has Parkinson's. And, it wouldn't be beyond to think about this, that they could have gave Muhammad Ali this as a way to keep him quiet because of all the damage he did to the system, to the establishment. Because once he started stepping out there and talking about the war against Vietnam, then Dr. King come along. Then the white students start waking up. And truth be told, it was SNCC that actually started speaking out against the war as well. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. See, black folks always been in the vanguard when it comes to being progressives and social justice movements in America. So it's not unusual to see this, but it's quite possible. I can't prove it, but hell, you got biological warfare going on today. There's a lot of things that have been going on in the system. Look at the Tuskegee experiment. Look at Henrietta Lacks at Johns Hopkins University. Look at the quote unquote founding father of gynecology, Sims, where he did the black women vaginas without anesthesia back in the 19th century. Look at the fact that there were many states in this country, in America, that were sterilizing poor women and women of color against their will. Fannie Lou Hamer is a famous case or infamous case when she was sterilized by her doctor down in Mississippi and was told about it afterwards. She was sterilized against her consent. She wanted to have kids, but they sterilized her because she was poor and black. And you still got cases of women being sterilized, in poor and developing third world countries. You got cases of women being given things called birth control, which actually does damage to their womb, so they can't reproduce. This is not nothing I'm making up. So they are capable of anything. You got heart attack guns that people use frequencies and vibrations and cause heart attacks and shit. This has been documented in a church committee report of the 70s when Senator Frank Church from Idaho held his committee hearings about assassinations, about COINTELPRO. This is how we learn about this stuff. And all this stuff is available online, So, even Muhammad Ali was conspiracy theory, so to speak. When his good friend Sam Cooke died under questionable circumstances, he held press conferences to talk about he didn't believe the quote-unquote official story of how Sam Cooke died. So Muhammad Ali was in the business of questioning everything and anything by this system that denied his people dignity, that denied his people humanity. Like he said, why would I travel 10,000 miles to kill a Viet Cong? They never called me a nigga. He said, you my oppressor here. He talking about white supremacy, white supremacists. Talking about racism. Highly intelligent. He said he got D minus, and he got the minus because he went to Olympics and won the gold. But black people, he had that black genius. It can't be taught in no school. What Muhammad Ali said, what he possessed, they could not be taught in school. So, and people talk about his family situation. Married 4 wives, womanizer, 9 kids that we know of. But here's the thing. People like that, it's hard to be great at one thing and be great at other things. I believe that because I look at a lot of my heroes and icons and, people like, Miles Davis and Picasso. These people were phenomenal artists, but they were terrible they were not the best husbands or fathers. They was not necessarily there for their kids. They didn't treat women the best, but at the same time, they were great at what they did, at their passion, which was their creation of art. Same thing with Muhammad Ali. I believe that he was great, but I believe he loved his kids in his way. He loved the women in his life in his way. And I think that we got to go out that mindset about, you look at a person that be great at this, but yet you want to discount their greatness because of their shortcomings as a human being. That's not realistic for anybody. Because if you look at any of us, we all got flaws and shortcomings. That's part of being a human. That's part of the journey. But at the same time, I'm very impressed the fact that he was able to achieve anything that's worthy to be considered great and also be remembered for all times. That's a blessing. That's a miracle. Because I really believe that Ali was not just the messenger, but he was the message. He was sent here by some higher being, by some higher order of the universe to teach the world something, to teach the world a lesson. But they use boxing as the vehicle to teach this world a lesson. Miles Davis, he admired boxers. He actually used to train with one of Sugar Ray Robinson's trainers, who Sugar Ray Robinson, one of his good friends. And he said one of the reasons why he couldn't leave America because he loved the tension, because it helps with creativity. And Muhammad Ali, he never left America. He's a boxer. And he had created a lot of tension in his lifetime, a lot of rumbling, a lot of grumbling. A professor once told me, a mentor of mine, he said, Ron, tension creates attention. Tension creates attention. So with that said, I saw in the Daily Mail about his son's, his namesake not doing so hot in Chicago, not doing well. struggling to support a family, wife and 2 kids, and being alienated from his father because of his father's illness, and also because of people handling things around him. Lonnie is Muhammad Ali's widow. That's his 4th wife. He actually met her when she was a little kid. They met. It's a famous photo of him greeting Lonnie, or she being around him from the 60s. And she ended up being his 4th and last wife. And it's funny how stuff worked like that. I think Muhammad Ali married his 3rd wife, Belinda, who was a Muslim, at 15. And people look down on it. It was a different era. He had the approval of the parents and whatnot. It was different times. People, you married a 15-year-old? I mean, Marvin Gaye met his last wife at 16, and her parents were very well aware of what, she was doing with Marvin Gaye. And this was one thing, I think, to be honest with you, I think people should look at I Am Ali and let the family speak for themselves, and also read and come to your own conclusions. But, being a human being, living and creating families and raising kids is a very messy business from what I understand. And also through my own experiences, dysfunctionality is a part of every family I know of to some degree, because everybody's an individual, and individuals make choices, So are we individuals, and we come together as a unit, and you call it a family or a team? Everybody ain't gonna always agree. Everybody's not gonna always get along, especially when there's large sums of money and things at stake, like large sums of money, inheritance, and stuff like that. Name me one family that can get along without money. So I'm muddled through that, but please do yourself a favor. Don't let mainstream white media dictate who Muhammad Ali is or should be to you. Muhammad Ali got enough interviews, enough stuff out here, enough documentaries. You even got folks that's still around who knew Muhammad Ali and who are a part of his family, but also who've seen him. You got enough people around here. I'm talking to black folks, should create our own media. You are the media. You got to be the media you want to see. You got to produce it. So this is why I do what I do. I'm producing the media I want to see. And, I think it's funny. Or not funny. It's a conspiracy. I got to throw my conspiracy in there. You think about, you remember like Joe Frazier was being called a gorilla by Muhammad Ali to promote the Thriller in Manila. He used to call Joe Frazier first Uncle Tom, then a gorilla. And isn't it interesting that the Saturday before Muhammad Ali died, that they killed a gorilla, and then the next weekend going into Muhammad Ali passes away? Interesting, because Joe Frazier did die before Muhammad Ali. So people say, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm just saying, this is my point. I'm just thinking out loud. This is not anything. I mean, this is my opinion. I want to leave with this quote by Brother Muhammad Ali that you apply to your everyday life. He said, "Champions aren't made in gyms. Champions are made from something they have deep inside them, a desire, a dream, a vision. They have to have the skill and the will, but the will must be stronger than the skill." And if you listen this far, I want to thank everybody for listening. If you like what you heard, if you got anything out of it, please feel free to subscribe and pass it along. And also feel free to donate to this movement, because we need your support more than ever. We All Be movement is 10 years strong. We had our 10-year anniversary, April 2016. And I know that the best is yet to come. I got a lot of great things planned. We're heading in a new direction with the We All Be movement. And I hope y'all can join us and support us. If you like the picture you are seeing today as part of this podcast, it was created by me yesterday, one of my famous Essence sketches. These are quick sketches that I create in honor of black icons and iconoclasts that I respect and admire. It's called Muhammad Ali is the GOAT. It's available as a print, 11 by 17 inch print, $20 shipping and handling. Also, it's available as a t-shirt, in a black t-shirt, a white t-shirt for $50 plus shipping and handling. just go to the website www.r2c2h2.com. Once again, that's www.r2c2h2.com. And I want to thank you all once again for listening. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you all madly. Keep producing and pushing.